So hello and welcome everyone to this new tutorial session. In this video, we will understand how we can use Python to implement basic file operations. So we start off this video by understanding how we can open a file with the help of Python. Then we will understand how we can read a file. Then we will discuss the importance of closing a file in Python. And after closing, we will discuss how we can create an empty file in Python and how we can write some new content in it, and in the last we will discuss about the append operation. So without any further delay, let's jump on to our very first topic. So before we start off with the operations, let's first discuss a basic introduction related to files. So files in general are specified location on a disk where associated data is stored, and the concept of files is utilized to keep data in a non-volatile memory for a long duration. So here non-volatile is referred to hard disk, since we cannot utilize RAM to store data as it is volatile. We utilizes file to store data permanently. So just like other programming languages, Python also supports file management, and it also allows users to create, read, as well as perform a variety of other file related operations. Moreover, just like many concepts, the concept of handling or managing files in Python is straightforward. In Python, we must first open a file before reading or writing to it. However, when we finish, we need to close the file. Now here closing a file is important so that the file's resources may be released. Now as a result, we can implement file operations in Python in the following sequence. So first we need to open a file, then we need to perform the required operation. So if we want to read, then we will perform the read operation, or if we want to write, we will perform the write operation. And after performing the operation, it is important to close a file. So let us start by understanding how to open a file in Python. And for the current instance, we will focus on working with text files. So generally in Python, we utilizes one built-in function. The name of this function is open, and the main purpose of this function is to open a file. Now this open function returns a file object with multiple methods and attributes, and these methods and attributes can be utilized to implement different file operations in Python. So here on the screen we can see the syntax of using the open function. Now this open function takes two arguments. Very first is the file name and second is the mode. Now file name parameter is utilized to specify the name of the file that we want to open, and the second parameter is mode. So the mode parameter is utilized to specify the mode in which we want to open the file. For example, there is a R mode which is used to open a file in read mode. Similarly, there are multiple modes. So here you can see one table on the screen. So these all are basic modes that we can use with this open built-in function. So very first is this R mode. As I told you, the R mode is utilized to open a file for reading only, and this is also the default mode. So if you do not specify the mode parameter, then this R mode will be the default value. After this we have this mode W. So this mode is used to open a file in writing mode. Moreover, this W mode can also be used to create a new file if the specified file does not exist, and the main purpose of this is to truncate the file and add new content. So if any file already exists, then it will empty that file and add the new content which we will specify. And if the file does not exist, then it will create a file. After W, there is one more mode. The name of this mode is X, and this mode is basically used for exclusive creation of a file. So the main purpose of this file is to create a file, and it creates file in a writable mode. So after creating the file, we can also write content into it, but we need to be careful while using this mode, because if the file already exists, then this mode will return an exception. After X, there is one more mode which is A. So this A stands for append, and this mode will open a file in the append mode, and this append mode is quite similar to the write mode. What happens in the append mode is that instead of truncating the file, it will add the content to the very last. So for example, if we have a file which contains some text and we use the append method and then we add some more content, so that content will be added after the existing content. Now after append mode, we have the mode T, which represent text. So this text mode is utilized to open a file in the text mode, and by default, if we do not specify any mode, then the file is open in the readable text mode. So the default mode will be RT. Now after this, we have the binary mode. So the character for the binary mode is B. So this mode will enable us to open the file in a binary mode. And in the last, we have this plus mode. So this mode will open a file for updating. So it enable us to read as well as write at the same time. So these all were the set of modes that we can utilize with this open function. Now to understand all these modes, let's start discussing about a basic example. So here you can see one basic example on my screen. Now what we are doing in this basic example, we are using the open function to open this sample.txt file. Now here you can see that we do not specify the mode. So by default, the mode will be RT. So the file will be open in a readable text mode. Now here one thing we need to understand is that in the open function, the very first parameter is to specify the file name. And here you can see we simply provided the file name directly. But this can only happen when this sample.txt file is available in the same directory in which we have this notebook file, or we can say in which we have this same Python file. So the Python file or the notebook file and the text file needs to be in the same directory. Only then we can specify the name. Other than this, if the text file is available in some other location, then we have to specify the whole location. So in this first comment, you can see we have defined one example. So for example, my sample.txt file is available in the downloads directory. So in that case, I have to specify the whole path. Now, if we want to specify the mode, we can also do that. So after specifying the file name, we need to use one comma, and then we need to specify the mode in single quotes or double quotes. So here in the comments, we have shown this example. So R is for read mode and RT represents read text mode. Both are same only. Now here there is no difference between these two options and the option that we have implemented. Both of the options will return the same result. Now here you can see we have assigned this function to this variable file. So now here file will be a file object. So if I try to print the file, it will return a file object. So here you can see, so the name of the file is sample.txt, the mode is R, and the encoding is CP1252. So this is the default encoding for Windows operating system. For Linux, the default encoding is UTF-8. So as a result, it is always advisable to specify the encoding type while working with files in the text mode, because for different operating system, this encoding could be different. So how we can change this encoding? We need to pass one additional parameter to the open function, and the name of this parameter is encoding. So you can see one more example here. So this time what we have done, we have specified this encoding parameter and we have assigned UTF-8. So this will change the encoding from CP1252 to UTF-8. So after implementing this thing, we have assigned this to the file variable, and then we print the file variable. So this will return the object, and here you can see the name of the file is sample.txt, mode is R, and the encoding now is UTF-8. Now I hope with this it is clear how we can open a file in Python. Now let's move forward. Now after opening a file and creating a file object, the next step is to perform the required operation on the file, and reading the file data is one of the basic operations in Python. Now to read any file in Python, first we need to open the file in the reading mode, which is also the default mode. Now once the file is open in the reading mode, we can utilize variety of methods to read the data of the file. So here you can see three common methods for this task. Very first is by using the read method, then we have the read line method, and in the last we have the read lines method. Now let's discuss each of these method in more detail. So let's start with the very first method, that is read method. Now what this read method does, it is basically utilized to read the specified text based upon the given bytes as an argument. So this read function accepts one argument, which is size. Now this size argument is used to specify the number of bytes to be read from the selected file. So we can understand its use better with the help of an example. So let's move to that. So here let's focus on the very first example. In this example, what we are doing, we are first opening the file in the read mode. That's why we have used this open function. We have specified the name of the file sample.txt. We define the mode as R, and then we define the encoding as UTF-8. Now if we want to fetch the name of the file, we can do that with the help of a name method. So here in the print function we are using the name method. So we specify the file object, which is file, then we use the dot operator, and after that we define the name. So this will return the name of the file, which is sample.txt. Now after this, here you can see we have used this read method. So first we define this file underscore content variable, and then we are assigning this read method to it. So first we define the name of the file object, which is file, then we use the dot operator, and after that we specify the read method. Now within this read method we have specified 9, so it will fetch the data of first 9 bytes and it will store it in the variable. Now after this we have specified this empty print function to print an empty line. Now what if we don't specify any parameter to it? So in that case it will return the complete data from the file. But here one thing we need to understand is that when we are reading a file, so first we have read 9 bytes of data, and after that we are reading the whole file using this read method. So first it will return the first 9 bytes of data from the file, and then it will return the remaining portion. So this 9 bytes of data will be excluded from the result of this read function with no arguments. So after that we are printing the variable using the print function. So let me execute this code block, and here you can see the result. So the name of the file is sample.txt. First 9 bytes of data is beautiful, and the remaining file data is starts with is. So let me show you the file first so that you can get better idea. So here you can see the sample.txt file. In this file we have 19 lines. So when we try to fetch only the 9 bytes, it has fetched only beautiful, and then we have used the empty read method, so it has returned the complete data. Now after the read method, the next method that we can utilize is the read line. Now the read line method in Python allows us to read the one whole line from a file. Moreover, the string return has a trailing new line at the end. So just like the read method, we can also utilize the size argument with the read line function as well to specify certain line length. However, the size parameter is optional, and if we do not specify the size parameter with this readline function, it will return one line from it. So let's understand this concept with the help of an example. So here you can see one more example. In this example also we are using the same sample.txt file. We have opened it in the read mode using the R mode. Then we have printed the name of the file, and after that first we have used this readline method. So first we define the name of the file object, then we use the dot operator, then we specify this readline method, and we are storing its result in the first underscore line. So this method will simply return the first line from the file. Now in the same way we have used this method again. Because we have fetched the first line earlier, for the next time it will fetch the second line from the file, and we will store it in the second underscore line variable, and then we are printing its value using the print function. Now just like the read method, we can also pass size argument to it. So if I pass 6 to this read line method, it will only fetch the 6 bytes of data from the third line. So let me show you the file again. In this file, if I zoom in little bit, you can see 19 lines of data we have in this file. So very first line is this: beautiful is better than ugly. Then the second line is explicit is better than implicit, and the third line starts with the word simple is better than the complex. So in this example, first we have used the readline method to fetch the first two lines from the sample file. So for the first line it will return the first line starting from beautiful, and for the second line it will return the whole line starting from explicit. And for the third instance, what we have done, we specified 6 bytes of data, so it will fetch only the 6 bytes of data. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. For the third print statement it will return simple. So let me open my notebook again. Now if I execute this cell, here you can see the result. So the file name is sample.txt. First line from the file is beautiful is better than ugly. The second line from the file is explicit is better than implicit. And the 6 bytes of data from the third line is simple. Now with this, I hope you understand the use of read line method. Now let's move to the next method, which is read lines. Now this read lines method provide a list of all the lines which can be used to do further operations or simply printing. Moreover, just like read or read line method, the read lines method also utilizes the size parameter to define the number of bytes of data to be fetched from the file. So let's look one example related to it. So here you can see one basic example. In this example, again we have created the file object by using the open function, and after that we are printing the name of the file using the name method, and then after the name method we are using this read lines method and we are storing its result in this first underscore line variable, and then we are printing its value. So let me execute this code block. So here you can see it has returned a list. Now the values in the list contains lines. So very first value in the list is this beautiful is better than ugly, and the item ends with \n, which represents new line. In this way all the lines are represented as single element in the list. Now I hope with this you all understand how we can read a file in Python. Let's move forward to our next topic. Now, before we start discussing about how we can create a file or how we can write a file in Python, we need to understand the concept of closing a file. So basically, we should always close a file in Python after completing the operation. When we close a file, the resource associated with it are released, and to implement this task in Python, we utilizes the close function. Now, there are basically two ways through which we can close a file in Python. So very first way is by using the close function. Let's understand how we can use this close function with the help of an example. So here you can see one basic example in which we have opened the file in the reading mode. Then we are printing the name of the file. After that we have used the read lines method to fetch the first line from the file, and then we are printing the first line using the print function. Now after completing all the operations, in the last we have specified file.close. So this will close the file. So let me execute this code block, and here you can see it has returned the result, and now our file is closed. Now once we close the file, we cannot perform any operation on the file. For example, here after closing the file, if I try to read the file using the readline method, let me correct it. It is read line, and then I need to specify the parenthesis. Now if I try to read lines from this file, it will return me an error because we have closed the file and we are trying to implement this operation on a closed file. So we need to perform all the operations before closing the file. Now there is one more issue related to this approach. What can basically happen while performing the operation on the file? If any exception occurs, the code will be terminated even before closing the file. So it is recommended to use the close method in the finally block, and the operation will be used within the try block so that we can handle the exception and the file gets closed even after the exception has been raised. So let me show you how we can do that. Here you can see one more example in which we have defined this file operation in this try block. Then I have defined this except plot so that I get to know the exception. And after the except block, I have specified this finally block, and in the finally block, I have specified file.close. So if you recall our previous tutorial where we have discussed about this finally block, the finally block will always get executed even if there is any exception in our operation. The file will be closed and our resources will be released. Now other than this, the most effective technique to close a file is by using the with statement, so that we do not need to specify the close method explicitly. So let's understand how we can use the with statement with the help of an example. So if I scroll here, you can see the example how we can use the with statement. So first we need to define the with keyword, and after the with keyword we have used the open function, and we are reading this sample.txt file in the reading mode, and we have also defined the encoding. Now after the open function we have defined this as keyword, and we have defined a alliance name. We have defined this name as file. So now this file will be treated as a file object, and all the operations will be implemented within this with block. So here we have specified colon, and with the indentation we have defined some operation. So first we are fetching the name of the file and then we are printing the first line from the file. Now what will happen by using this with statement? The file will be automatically closed. We do not need to call the close function again and again. So let me execute this code block, and here you can see the result. File name is sample.txt and the first line is beautiful is better than ugly. Now let's move to the next topic, and next we will understand how we can create a new file in Python. Now there are various modes available that we can utilize with the open function to create a new file. So these are the three main modes that we can utilize. So very first mode is X. Now this mode, as we discussed earlier, is utilized for exclusive creation of file. Then we can also utilize the W mode, which is used to write a file. Now this mode will create file only when the file does not exist. Now if the file already exists, this mode will truncate the file and the data in the file will be removed. So if we want to use this W mode, we need to use it very carefully. And after that we can also utilize the append mode, which is represented by A. So the append mode can also be utilized to create a new file. So this mode will also create a new file if the specified file does not exist, and if the file exists it will append the data. Now let's understand how we can create one empty file. Now to create an empty file we will only use the X mode. So let's discuss the example related to that as well. So here you can see one example where we have used the try except block to handle the exception. Within the try block, I am using the with statement to open a file, and we are opening this file as new underscore file. So this will be the file object. Now if we focus on the open function, here we can notice that we have specified the mode as X and we have specified encoding as UTF-8. Now within the with statement, we have specified two print statements. Very first will print the string file created, and the second print function will print the name of the file. And after that we are using the except block, and within the except block we are printing the exception if any exception occurs in this program. So let me execute this code block. So here you can see the result. It has returned this result, file created, and the name of file is new underscore file dot txt. So this file will be created in the same directory where we have this notebook file or where we have our Python file. So let me show you. By default, my notebook file is in the desktop directory. So in the desktop directory, I have to check whether new underscore file txt has been created or not. So this is the file. It has been created. Now this file is empty. Now once we understood how we can create an empty file, let's understand how we can create a file and write some content into it. So for this implementation, we will use the write mode and we will use the write method as well to write data into the file. So let's understand how we can use that. Now here you can see one more example. So in this example, we have used the open function and we are trying to open this data.txt file. Now here you can see I have specified the complete path of the file. So I have defined this string as a raw string. That's why I have specified R in the starting of this string. So in this way we can open or we can create a file and at any specific location. Now after specifying the name of the file, we have specified the mode as W plus. So this will open the file in the updating mode, so we can implement both reading as well as writing operation on the file. And the file object is this new underscore file. After opening the file within the with statement, we have defined this variable file underscore content, and within this we have specified a multi-line string. Now if we want to add this content to our data.txt file, what we need to do, we need to use the write method. That's why we have specified the name of the file object. We use the dot operator, and after the dot operator we have used this write method, and in parentheses we have passed the variable that we have just created our file underscore content. So in this way we are adding this content to our file data.txt. Now if this file already exists at the given location, what will happen? It will remove the content of the data.txt file and it will add the content that we have specified. But if the file does not exist at the given location, it will create a new file and then it will add the content into it. Now, as I told you, when we implement any operation on the file, the cursor will move in the way we fetch the data. So if we want to read data that we have specified, we need to move our cursor to the very starting position of the file. And how we can do that? For that, we need to use this seek method. So first we need to specify the name of the file object. Then we need to use the seek method and we need to pass 0 as an argument to it. So this will move the cursor to the very starting position of the file. And now after this, we have used this read method to read all the content specified in the file, and we are using the print function to print the content. So let me execute this code block, and here you can see it has returned this result. File content is this. Python is a general purpose high level interpreted programming language. Now let's check the location. So I have already opened this location in my VS Code. Let me open my VS Code. Now in this VS Code, I have already opened this Python guides directory, and in the directory you can see this file has been created, data.txt. So if I click on it, this is the data that we have inserted into this file. So let me change some data. So let me remove this data and let me put anything. Let me save this file by pressing Ctrl+S. Now let me execute this code block again, and again we have got the same result because we are performing the write operation. And now if I open my file again, here you can see it has returned this result only. It has removed the content that we have specified earlier and it has added the content that we defined in our program. So in this way we can perform the write operation. After the write operation, let's discuss about the append operation as well. For the append operation, instead of specifying the write mode, we need to specify the append mode, and for that we need to use a mode in the open function. So here you can see the example. In this example, within this open function, we have specified a plus. So what we are doing by specifying this, we are opening the file in the appending as well as reading mode, so that we can append data and we can also read data from this file at the same moment. Now within this with block, first we have defined this file underscore content variable and we have specified this string. Now in this string we have specified this \n. So what this \n will do, so before adding the content to the file, it will add a new line and then add this string to the file. After defining this file underscore content variable, we are again using the write method and we have passed this file underscore content variable to it. But as we have opened our file in the append mode, it will not remove the whole content. Instead, it will add the new line because we have specified \n, and then after the new line, it will add this line. Now after performing this append operation, we are again moving our cursor to the very starting position in the file using the seek method, and after that we are using the read method to read the file and then we are printing the result. So let me execute this code block. So here you can see in the file content we added this two-line statement earlier, and when we perform this append operation, this line has been added. We can also check this from our txt file. Here you can see the data.txt file, new line is been appended to this document. So with this we have covered the basic operations related to file in Python. Now in the next video we will discuss how we can work with the binary files in Python. So thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next one.